that. They know what needs to be there for life, but they don't know what life is. Go ahead.
Well, I agree that you can believe in the Creator and still believe in evolution.
Theistic evolution. We can talk about that too afterwards.
But the evolutionary theory does not equal the theory of the Big Bang or anything that says life started. It's just the evolution takes life as it already created or evolved.
Talk to your professor. Ask him what is necessary for evolution to begin. Ask him the beginning starting blocks of evolution. They will not say that God did it. I guarantee it. In fact, good DVD you can watch, and it's kind of humorous. Anyone know who Ben Stein is? Okay, you know the No Intelligence Allowed? You see that one? Okay, there's a definite bias on the campuses among the teachers. As a matter of fact, they'll lose their tenure if they teach that God had any part to do with mankind, life, cosmos, anything. They can lose their tenure for that, and they will, probably. But I'm sorry, so what is the specific point you're making here?
Just that theory of evolution is just saying that a life form can evolve, that macroevolution is simply microevolution through a greater time span. And that many creationists don't necessarily believe in a simple secondary model, but you can also believe in a more, I'm trying to think of the right word, more a drawn out time span.
Theistic evolution or the gap theory or something of that
Yes,
nature.
and
Yeah.
that you can believe in both at the same time.
Except, where did God make man from?
Thus.
Okay, that doesn't fit in any scenario you just described, except 7-day creation.
I'm not saying that God didn't make man because he made plankton and then plankton became man. I'm saying that you can believe in both. You can believe that God created animals and then some animals evolved to more species, is what I'm saying.
Animals adapt. Let's say that. I would agree with that wholeheartedly. God created animals with the ability to adapt. Otherwise, we'd probably all be dead by now if we couldn't adapt. And we can change. Pardon me?
Which is microevolution.
I don't like the term. I agree with you. That is microevolution in the sense that you're using it. I don't like the term. I like adaptation better because using the term microevolution, I'm not going to get through this at all. Using the term...
I apologize for starting this.
That's okay. Using the term microevolution confuses it with macroevolution. What happens with microevolution, let's take the wolf for example. You know that all dogs basically come from a wolf, right? But wolves can still interbreed, if possible, with St. Bernards, Chihuahuas, whatever. There's still all the dog kind. But what happens in microevolution is that you are taking information out. In macroevolution, changing from protozoan to worm, you have to add information. So this microevolution, as you call it, or I would call it adaptation, what you're doing is you are taking from this protozoan, you are stripping it of certain information. It's not that you're actually reaching into the gene pool and taking it out, but there are certain, let's use bacteria for example. You've heard that bacteria evolve resistance to pestilence and things like, or to, pardon me? Penicillin, okay. What happens is, you get, let's say you get 10 billion bacterial cells in this human body. And they're taking penicillin to kill this bacterial infection they got. And, 832 of them already have this one block in their receptor where penicillin doesn't work on. There's a block there. The penicillin isn't doing what it's supposed to do. So these 832 survive this onslaught of penicillin. Okay? Especially if you don't take the whole dose. You're feeling better, you took 7 pills out of 10, so I don't need the other 3, I'm all right. And so now you have these 832 in there, and that's not really enough to do anything. Bacteria need billions to really affect you big time. But they're there and they start multiplying, and bacteria can multiply pretty quick. And now you take penicillin, and guess what? You've killed off the stuff that works on. But because you didn't take it all, you weakened those, but they got better. They got better. and they started multiplying again. And now you got a whole strain in you that bacteria or penicillin's not going to touch. They didn't evolve that. It's just you killed off all the competition. It's just like if you go through and you kill everybody with blue eyes and everybody with green eyes, well, guess what the next generation is going to look like? You know? They're going to have brown eyes, or, you know, that's just going to happen. Stands to reason, right? That's your whole peppered moth thing. How many have ever heard of the peppered moth? Yeah, that's it. The whole scenario there, which, by the way, was a forgery. They actually pinned peppered moths on the trees and took pictures of them. They were dead. Yeah. They stuck them on. They pinned them on, glued them on, whatever. Yes?
Okay, so we could kind of take off the table cross-species evolution. We could talk about adaptation within species.
Yes.
But then you talked about age of the Earth and the universe, and you throw out some billions of years here.
Mm-hmm.
And then you said something about the seventh-day creation. So I'm wondering how you reconcile that.
We're going to get to that. Let me go on with my thing and see if we can cover some of the bases that you might have questions on. Let's hold the questions till afterwards, okay? And then I'm just going to fly through some of this material now. You got a question, write it down, and we'll see if we can answer it afterwards, okay? If I can. I don't know if I can or not, but we'll try. Anyway, law of biogenesis. What is that law? Life comes from life. Is there any known exception to that anywhere in the whole universe? Anywhere. Has it been tested in a laboratory? Has it been observed? Has it been repeatable, provable, scientific law? What contradicts that? The basic starting block of atheistic, humanistic evolution. Contradicts that. Go ahead. First and second law of thermodynamics. What is that? Conservation of energy. Okay. First law of thermodynamics. All the energy matter that is in the universe is here. It's not being decreased, it's not being added to. It's here, it's static. In the sense of the amount. It's not static in what it's doing, but it's static in the amount. There is no increase in energy matter in the universe in any part of it. Now we can get into particle fusion and all this other weird stuff, but it's still there, either in the form of energy or in the form of matter. Okay? Now, second law of thermodynamics says that it's all winding down. So we know that it's not eternal. Because everything that's going to be here is here. If it was eternal, it would have wound down by now, right? If it was, say, 10 zillion trillion years old, we would be at 0 Kelvin right now. Which means even the atoms would stop moving. And it would just be, that's it, okay? So we know that matter is not eternal. It had a beginning, and that beginning was not too far in the past. We know that because of the way things are progressing, what is necessary for life, how hot the universe can be. If it was much hotter, we wouldn't survive, okay? So we know that relatively, I would say relatively recent, there may be some people that would disagree with that, okay? Give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's give them the billions of years. But we know that it had a beginning. Where did that beginning come from? Cosmological theory, Big Bang. Everything that's here was contained in one infinitely small space. Now, how big is infinitely small? What's another way of saying infinitely small? Singularity. Nothing. 0. So everything that exists came from nothing. That's a contradiction. I'm sorry. That is just a contradiction to the reasonable mind. It just doesn't even make sense. Right? You can stare at a vacuum for 10 zillion years and all you're ever going to see is a vacuum. Nothing is going to spring out of a vacuum. It just doesn't happen. There are no, according to law, singularity, there were no laws, there were no weak nuclear forces, strong nuclear forces, no laws of gravity, electromagnetism, any of that stuff. It was a singularity. What made it change if there were no laws? I know the whole thing is a contradiction. Anyway, go ahead. Laws of physics. There are 10 zillion. You look at the counter rotations of the planets. You could just go on and on and on about the laws of physics and how they say the astronomical model moves. And it just becomes mind-boggling how anyone could believe this. And you think, you know,